And
Exactly. That is a very good point. We're going to discuss that today.
Empathetic.
Got it. Good. What else?
Approachable?
Approachable. Okay, very important.
Good communication skills.
Very good communication skills is extremely important.
I was supposed to pick one, but no one said it.
I left you. See, you should have jumped up and went, hey!
Be on time.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so there's a lot of things that as an educator we're going to talk about today, just from the standard procedures of skill knowledge, okay, time management, those sorts of things are all key for you to understand, have a good comprehension of what is expected of you, because if you don't, you're not going to come across as an educator. Because very quickly they're going to be this, and how many of you have attended college? Okay. When you attended college, were there core instructors that you went, we're not going to take this class at this time because that's the only instructor I can have right now? Why was that, Tammy? What did you not like about that instructor?
Well, a lot of times people from previous classes would, give input on certain things or the way they graded or,
Exactly. Fairness, ability to instruct, all those things. And trust me, as an educator, who's going to rip you up and spit you out? Your class. Okay? Now you're always going to have those few people because you work with them that I don't care whether you handed them $1 million, they would never be happy in life. Just know that you're going to have a few students that way and whatever. Okay? As long as the core group of your class, the majority of your class, is confident in their skill set, they're comfortable with what you're teaching, they're happy with the outcomes, do evaluations often to figure that out. Be honest with your students. Tell them to be honest with you. Lisa just came out on Monday and did evaluations for Brooke and I, and one of the first comments I had to the class before she handed them out, I asked Lisa, I said, can I just make a comment? She said, absolutely. I said, please be honest. There's 17 of you in the classroom. I need to know what I am doing as an instructor that works for you and what doesn't. Because if you're not honest with me on an evaluation, I don't know how to change or that I need to change. So make sure that you do evaluations often with your class. It helps you. I love to read the comments after a class.
How many classes do you get that hey, give you all the great grades? If that's 5's best, one's worst. They're all 5s.
And honestly, it stinks when they do that because it really doesn't give you a good idea of, okay, did I present the material okay or didn't I? Okay. I like to make, on my final exam, usually the last question on my final exam for whatever class I'm teaching is, what can I do as your instructor to make this a better class for you in the future or for future students? It's interesting. Usually they will let you know when they will take the time to
Class is over.
it's done. Exactly. It's no skin off their nose. There's no, and that's why we do the evaluations the way we do. Lisa comes in, she hands them out, I step out of the room, there's no name on them, there's no identification, I don't even get to see the handwriting, which is nice because that way it's totally off your students' shoulders. They can be honest at that point without repercussion. And that's the other thing that's really important when you're evaluating and asking for evaluation on your student teaching technique. Make sure that you do not take it personally. Okay? Do not take it as a learning experience. Back up, examine what you do, see whether, I guess I didn't do that. Okay? I'm a huge one for using my hands. If I tied my hands behind my back, I probably couldn't instruct. Some people that bothers. They don't like that when teachers are all over the place. I've had comments before. Don't be so animated. Okay, well, when you have students that have been, last 24 hours in EMS and they've been up all night and they're, if you're not animated, what happens? They fall asleep. Brandon. Okay, Brandon's exhausted, that's obvious. Okay. All right, so professional qualities that you need to have. Honesty and integrity. integrity. We talked about that a little bit in chapter 3 when I covered that for you. Empathy and compassion and self-motivation. They are just a few. So honesty and integrity. When you're dealing with the honesty and integrity, some key things that I want to point out to you. We heard about fair. Okay? Now honesty means a lot of things. All right? So truthful, fair, sincere, a good reputation. So if you don't have a good reputation as a paramedic, okay, aren't you looking at that empty seat there? Gosh, I hope not. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You have somebody that just dinged that thought. All right, but a good reputation. If you have someone that you have been a coworker with from a different agency, you've had interactions with them, they have been an incompetent paramedic, basic, MFR, whatever it might have been, or maybe you've had them as an instructor before. It's very hard for you to come into that class and say, I'm really not probably listening too much to what they say and are instructing because I don't feel they're competent in what they do to begin with. So be honest, be of good reputation. Treat your patients fairly, even if it is that drunk in the middle of the night that got you up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I've fallen and I can't get up. Okay, so be honest. Integrity. What does integrity mean? What does that mean to you? Integrity pretty much means that you adhere to an accepted standard of conduct. Okay? When you go to work, your name tag is on, your shirt is tucked in, your boots are zipped up, you present yourself as a professional. Okay? Or you come in the door like I did this morning. My boots are not zipped up, my pants are all slouched over, my belt's half undone, my shirt's half untucked, I don't have a name tag on. Collar on my sleeve because my sleeves are too long and I have to fold them up. One of them was down. Okay? Just disheveled. So integrity means a lot of things. You hold yourself to a standard of conduct. You treat people fairly. Right? You look at things from both sides, just not your point of view. As an instructor, that's very important because you have to be able to perceive what's going on with your students. A lot of times it'll help you deal with troubled students. Okay? When they're having issues in class or acting out or giving you grief about something, take time to look a little bit deeper. Ask them on a break, hey, how's your day been? Been a rough day today? Usually that is enough to just, now you might get 15 minutes in the hallway and not get your cup of coffee and be able to pee, but it's enough to get them back on track for the learning aspect. All right? Empathy and compassion. Okay, empathy and compassion. You have to be able to perceive what your students are going through. You have to be able to show them compassion within reason. Okay, you don't want to be one of those silly nilly-willy instructors that, has to hug everybody and, oh, I'm so sorry, how's your mom? How's your kids? You don't want to get hung up in that either. That's not professional. Now, if you want to do that after class, you know them personally and one of their children has been sick, but by all means, that's perfectly acceptable to ask, but not during the lecture phase, okay, on a break or something along that line, because your other students face it. I came in here babbling this morning. I had a whole spiel set up for you about, Brooke got hurt this week. She was in an accident. I didn't have time to prepare for class. Do you care? No. I'm here to learn, and you're late, and you look like crap. I really don't care why. All right? And think about what your student, they don't care. They don't want your excuses. Okay, but for you, it is important for you to have empathy and compassion. Self-motivation. This is something that some of us are very good at. Some of us are doers. Others are time-out people. We sit and watch. We take the passive phase. Okay? Self-motivation in instruction is extremely important because it's the only way that you're going to get through this. If you are not self-motivated, how do you relay that to your students? Because face it, in the EMS world, it's all about self-motivation. Because 90% of the time, you're your own boss when you're in that truck. And it's you and your partner that's responsible for the care of that patient. So in turn, if you're not motivated, to start the IV, it's just wrong. Seriously? Why do I have to start an IV? Why do I have to start an IV on a drunk? Dehydration, malnutrition. Okay, why should I? What if it's not just alcohol? It's just a drunk. Why do I have to check the glucose? I don't know. Why do you have to check the glucose? Because maybe it's not just the drunk this time. Okay, so self-motivation is huge in EMS education. You really need to promote that in your students. You need to think about that. We talked about that in chapter 3, where I gave you the drunks as the example. And, all of us hate them. It's like, oh my God, like we have to run on this. Why don't they just take them in a drunk tank? Don't relay those types of concepts and thoughts to your class, because once you instill that, remember, they look up to you. You're the guru. You're the God at this point. So what you teach them sticks with them throughout their career. So be thoughtful of what you say and what you do. Professional appearance, okay, for obvious reasons. You need to elevate yourself a little bit above your students. Be thoughtful of what you wear though. Think about how we instruct and what we actually have to do in these classes. Wearing a skirt, which we had come up the other day, okay, in an EMS class, is wearing a dress or a skirt appropriate? Not really, because we have practical skills that we need to do. Asking someone to get down on the floor and put a traction splint on, or even do CPR. I have some hysterical pictures of my class doing CPR. Brooke got the coolest picture, which we're going to put together in a slide presentation at the end. Everybody's down on the floor doing CPR. All you see is these butts. Okay? It's perfect. But if someone had a skirt or a dress on, would that be appropriate for that teaching setting? So you need to relay to yourself as well as your students what is appropriate. Typically, we don't wear skirts. We don't wear dresses. Now, I'm not saying that you may not come in to do a presentation to the fire authority or something like that, and you find it appropriate to wear a suit to an event like that. Obviously, because you're not going to be down on the floor. You're not going to be demonstrating. So kind of gauge what your group is and what you're presenting to. Most of the time, dress casual is very appropriate in EMS. I like to wear nicer looking jeans from the standpoint that I don't like to wear my dress slacks, get down on the floor and do practicals and wear a pair of khaki pants. So if it's a night that I know that I have to do those types of practicals with the students, because I'm very much a hands-on educator, I like to show you how to do it because I think that helps you learn. So in turn, but just kind of gauge what's appropriate as far as your dress. Ask if you've been asked to be a guest instructor. Ask, what do you normally wear? Because sometimes if we do the academy style like we are at Tri, they will go ahead and ask you to wear your uniform. They don't care where you're from, just wear a clean uniform with a name tag, and that's appropriate. So ask where you're instructing. See what they would like you to wear. That'll help you out to gauge a little bit. Time management and effective communication. Effective communication, if you cannot speak fluently, clearly about the subject, present the matter, okay? If I start stumbling over my words, I don't understand a section, I can't pronounce the words to the class, that relays incompetency right there, okay? It's going to take you a while. If you're not a person that has the natural gift to gab, it's going to take you a while to get comfortable up here. Okay. One of the things that my IC instructor did for us, and of course it just gets peals of laughter every time, but anytime you're taking a public speaking class or having to speak, you find yourself getting nervous, stop. Take a breath and go back at it. First thing I do, and this is what my IC instructor shared, was stop, take a breath, look at the class, and picture every single one of them on the toilet. What does that do for you as an instructor? Number one, it makes you giggle, okay? But what does it do for you? You know what? They're the same